Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Good afternoon, members of the media. Thank you, Nicholas, for your welcome. This afternoon, there are two matters that I wish to address. The first one being the recent judgment of Madam Justice Margaret Mohammed regarding the CEPEP matter. I took note a short while ago of Madam Justice's judgment, and this afternoon I want to say that the government is vindicated in its position as it relates to the administration issues that we have identified surrounding CEPEP. Further, CEPEP this afternoon, as its line minister, sent to me a copy of a press release that they issued a short while ago. And I want to first quote from that press release, where it says, "Whilst the company has emerged victorious, it is extremely concerned about the fraudulent misrepresentation made to the board that Cabinet had granted approval to extend over 300 contracts with its core contractors for a period of 3 years, ending in 2029. It considers this to be a most serious matter as it sets a dangerous precedent for corporate governance." Further, it goes on to say, "We take special notice of the fact that the learned judge has seen it fit to refer to this matter to the Director of Public Prosecutions for his attention. CEPEP stands ready, willing, and able to assist the DPP, Anti-Corruption Bureau, and the Fraud Squad with a thorough and urgent criminal investigation into this matter. The company's board of directors was deceived into extending over 300 contracts, thereby exposing the government of Trinidad and Tobago to expenditure to the tune of $1.4 billion. This decision was taken by CEPEP's board on the basis of information that was allegedly provided by ex-line minister for CEPEP, Mr. Al-Rawi, to the now ex-chairman, Mr. Joel Edwards, that Cabinet had authorized and approved the extension of all CEPEP core contracts. This matter, after the deliberation and the judgment of Madam Justice Margaret Mohammed, is scandalous, it is deeply troubling, and it is damning in itself." The press release went on to say, in his affidavit, Mr. Edwards did not deny Mr. Eddy's evidence, that is the former chairman, Mr. Edwards, to Mr. Eddy, the current CEO and CEO at that time of CEPEP. In his affidavit, instead, he preferred the incredible explanation that there was an error in the board note. The board note that they refer to is a board note indicating that there was cabinet approval for the extension of CEPEP contracts when we discovered that there was none. The contemporaneous evidence shows that Mr. Edwards was never informed CEPEP's management or board that there were any mistakes, far less the need for correction of same. Indeed, there is no message in the WhatsApp group about this alleged mistake, and this speaks to the evidence that was provided by Senior Counsel Anand Ramlogan on behalf of the company through the affidavit. CEPEP therefore calls upon all board members to clear the air on this matter. If any former board member was advised by Mr. Edwards that there was an error in the board note because the statement that Cabinet had approved the extension of the contracts was false, they have a duty to speak out and clear the air in the interest of good governance, transparency, and accountability. CEPEP is in possession of every single email sent by the board members ratifying the decision of the Cabinet to extend these contracts. There is no mention of any mistake in emails sent from the directors 48 hours before the general elections when they voted via round robin in support of ratifying and implementing the Cabinet's decision. CEPEP welcomes the referral of this matter by the High Court to the DPP. Sworn affidavit evidence has already been given by CEO Mr. Keith Eddy and ex-chairman Mr. Joel Edwards. Unfortunately, then line minister for CEPEP, now Senator Faris Al-Rawi, who has been very vocal on many national issues and earlier with respect to the issues surrounding CEPEP of recent, did not file any evidence on this important issue as it relates to the alleged fraud perpetuated against the company. Therefore, I join my voice with CEPEP this afternoon as the line minister in calling upon the former line minister for CEPEP, now Senator Faris Al-Rawi, to clear the air in the public interest regarding this matter. CEPEP remains committed to the principles of transparency, integrity, and accountability. As a responsible corporate body that is funded by taxpayers, we have a duty to ensure that we serve the public interest in an honest and responsible manner. But for the representation that Cabinet had approved the extension of over 300 core contracts, the company would not have taken such a decision in the days leading up to before general election. CEPEP therefore intends to seek legal advice on this matter and shall leave no stone unturned because it is determined to get to the truth. If the company was deceived into taking this decision, then there will be legal consequences and the chips will fall where they must. This afternoon, I'm pleased to say that I lend my full support. I want to congratulate and thank Senior Counsel Anand Ram Logan for his representation in this matter. When the matters regarding CEPEP first arose, there was a large hue and cry in terms of government's position on CEPEP, but we were very clear from day one in terms of what we found, what were the challenges at the company, the advice that was proffered to us, and therefore we are seeing the fruits of the challenges that were made, but us standing strong in our conviction in terms of advancing the interests of the company and protecting the well-being of the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago. What is deeply disturbing, alarming, and some would say even shocking, would have been the utterances of Madam Justice Margaret Mohammed forwarding these matters to the Director of Public Prosecutions. So for all those who have been asking when would matters be forwarded, when would matters be raised with the police and so on, I can say unequivocally that today is the day for that. And CEPEP is intent on cooperating with the Anti-Corruption Bureau, the Fraud Squad, and the authorities in this matter. We must get to the bottom of who misled the management of CEPEP with respect to the issue of cabinet approval. And we have set out a strong case in terms of the evidence that was provided to the court. And today the court has ruled that they agree that this matter must go before the Director of Public Prosecutions. There are a lot of questions to be answered, but who will answer those questions? And the persons responsible for answering those questions would be the people who would have sat in the Cabinet of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago prior to April 28. And most importantly, it will be the line ministers who had direct responsibility for CEPEP. Up to this time, I don't think that we have had any public utterances coming from now Senator Al-Rawi on this particular matter as it relates to the judgment that came out a short while ago from Madam Justice Margaret Mohammed. We look forward to him clearing the air on that matter in terms of what role, if there was any role, as indicated by Mr. Eddy, the CEO of CEPEP, in terms of where he would have gotten this direction from. We were very clear when we spoke to the national community that it was not simply about an extension of contract. It was the committal of $1.4 billion of Trinidad and Tobago taxpayers' money being injected into CEPEP for additional 3 years without any cabinet approval. May I also add that it was the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance who made it very clear, and I think there was no better authority for that information to have been placed in the public space and as part of this litigation, when the PS in the Ministry of Finance indicated unequivocally that yes, cabinet approval was required in this matter. So I think once and for all, we can, based on the judgment today, we can say safely that based on the advice of the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, the interpretation of the law coming from Madam Justice Margaret Mohammed, that cabinet approval was needed in this matter. The matter that is really of grave concern, and I think that is why the learned judge has sent the matter to the DPP. This is not a case of the government. It is not a case of CEPEP. This is now a judicial officer in the High Court of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago who has sent this matter to the DPP. It now involves senior former members of the government in terms of answering how did we arrive at this situation, whether or not the accusations and allegations are true that have been made by the CEO, the current CEO, and who would have served as the CEO at the time these contracts would have been extended, and the role, if any role, was played by former Minister Faris Al-Rawi in this matter. As I said, I don't think that there has been a more scandalous development in recent times as it relates to the public purse with respect to this matter that has been unearthed at CEPEP. And therefore, the onus are on those who would have served in government to provide the country with answers. Should they fail to do so, I am almost certain, as I said earlier, CEPEP will be pursuing this matter with respect to the DPP, as well as the Anti-Corruption Bureau,